Hi, in this video I'm going to talk to you about RTSP feeds and why they're useful for video analysis. So what is an RTSP feed? RTSP means real-time streaming protocol. All you need to know is that it's a really good way of delivering video and audio over a network, whether that's a direct connection to your machine or through a network switch. And that media can be configured so you can set up things like the resolution, so 1080, 720, the bit rates and the FPS, like 25 frames per second, 50 frames per second on that RTSP feed, which makes it really useful for coming into video analysis software and sharing options. So one of the big benefits with using RTSP feeds is how easy they are to distribute. So you can take a variety of video feeds that can all come into a network so they can be shared out to different devices. It's really useful for video analysis software because typically those RTSP feeds, either coming from an IP camera or an encoder, have already been pre-configured with those bit rates and settings, so they're taking off a lot of strain on the software with how it captures and distributes that video feed. So the ways that you get those RTSP feeds is basically through a network. And typically that will be an IP camera that's connected to your network or your machine, or with an RTSP encoder. So an IP camera has a direct RTSP feed, but an encoder will convert a HDMI or SDI feed into an RTSP feed so that you can use it. So that video encoder is taking the feed from a camera, like I said, from either HDMI or SDI, is running it through the encoder, and then it will have an Ethernet out, which delivers your RTSP feed, whether that's a single feed or multiple feeds that come through. That can connect directly to your laptop or to a network switch, so you can then share it out to multiple devices. So why should you use an RTSP video encoder? Well, if we take that video feed from a HDMI or SDI feed of a camera, we can run it through the encoder and set those resolutions, bit rates, and FPS. So everything has a standardized approach to it. What it also means is that we can combine those feeds with other cameras like IP cameras. So if the encoder is connected to our network switch and the IP camera feeds are connected to that switch, we've got a mix and match of different video inputs coming through. And as I said before, those RTSP feeds are much better for video analysis software and review tools to handle, capture, and share. So some typical examples of where you'd use an RTSP encoder is if you've got multiple machines, so coaches and analysts that are needing to look at the video. So we can all connect to a network switch, pick up the same feed and review it. Or you might have multiple video angles of RTSP feeds coming in and you can capture multiple feeds at once. Also, if you connect your tablet devices to that same network, so you might use something like our AP wireless solution for that, those tablets are now part of that network and they can pick up those RTSP feeds as well. Another reason why the encoders are really good is if we think about setting those resolutions, bit rates, and frame rates, you can just manage that video every time when you go to different venues, different stadiums, different cameras. You can standardize it all through your encoder. So here at Analysis Pro, we've got a few different encoder options. Firstly is our AP mini feed. So this will take one HDMI input and it will convert that into RTSP. Next up is the AP feed, and this can take in one HDMI and one SDI feed. So you can have two feeds at once, or you can just mix and match between HDMI or SDI. If you're going to different environments, you don't know whether you've got HDMI or SDI available. And the top option we have is AP multi-feed. So this takes in up to 4 feeds. So that can be plugged in the SDI at the side, or you can open up the box and also go direct into the HDMI. So 4 feeds which could all be SDI or all HDMI or a mix and match of both. But then you're getting 4 RTSP feeds, so 4 video angles that you can capture into your software and share. So AP mini feed, a great way to start with having a single HDMI feed and getting those benefits of RTSP. AP feed for 2 feeds, HDMI and SDI, and then AP multi-feed for 4 feeds at once, HDMI or SDI. Visit our website to learn more about all these solutions.